Two boys, one podcast. Two boys, one podcast. Your movie connection. When it's time for reflecting, we make fun of each other. Then do film reviews. Winner or loser. Is this movie right for you? Nope, it sucks. Don't press your luck. You better listen to us. Two boys, one podcast.
Hey, that's us. We're the two boys. This is the podcast.
No, this time of year,
It's your special.
I am a ghoul. I am a ghost, and you are a ghoul, I believe.
Yes, I'm the ghoul. You're the ghost. This is the annual Spooktacular Spectacular.
Yes, welcome to that.
Happy Halloween, man.
It is that special time of year
And to all of our listeners.
that I like to call Halloween.
There's always time for the witching hour.
Time for one last
story. Yeah, so
That would be a good one to watch on Halloween.
it would. It was a good one to watch
When we watched it.
I mean, why don't you,
April
for
26th.
our new listener out there, why don't you explain what's happening?
Hi, new listener. So, for a holiday, we skipped the normal 7 degrees, 6 degrees. Is it 6 or 7?
I think it's 11.
Okay. 11 degrees of Kevin Smith, and I just get for Halloween, I just pick some movies I think Zeke will. Well, I know I like them.
Yeah.
Generally, except for last year, and hopefully Zeke will like them. And then for Christmas, he gets to do the same. And this year, we've cut it down to 3 from
It was
5.
a production note from our producer that we do 3 movies instead of 5 this year, because the note
Saying it was too long.
the note was
Yeah,
that
it's too
less of
long.
us is more for everybody else. So there's that.
Yeah. He got bored, and he had to sit there and record us for an hour and a half, and he didn't like it.
So yeah, you get Halloween, I get Christmas, and sometimes there are other specials that we just spring on people.
Yeah, we do that sometimes.
But this is your.
We did Thanksgiving one time.
We did do Thanksgiving one time, and there was this has always been like this from the beginning, from the get. This has been your holiday that you wanted to do. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I kind of stole it from you from talking about 12 Days to Die Hard, but yes.
But I mean, how do you? It's your show. What do we want to do? You want to jump right in? You want to?
Well, first we gotta. What are you doing? It's the eve of Halloween.
Let's be pretty quiet. I got to get some work
I
done.
haven't said it.
Like I've been just buried in editing, which isn't out of the ordinary. But
That doesn't sound very spooky.
it is. See, it doesn't sound that way, but it's terrifying. Being buried in editing is terrifying. All you do is scream and shout, and no one
Or
comes to your
buried
rescue.
alive. Yes.
But
Okay.
yeah, how about you? Are you doing anything fun?
No, I have a sinus infection or something. My head is pounding.
Well, that sounds awful. Are you gonna
Yes, it's not much fun.
buy a bunch of candy and jump into it like Scrooge McDuck, and then eat it with your screen door open, but yet locked, so that all the kids that come to your door don't get any, and you just eat it in front of them?
I am. I'm doing it right after this.
Hey, that's great. Good for you.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I mean, hopefully
Worked hard on it.
I have heard that dark chocolate cures a sinus infection.
Have you really heard that?
No, I have not. Corn maze could, though.
It's good. Well, I had the opportunity. I'm sorry I missed it, man.
No, I mean, there's always next year. Next year's witching hour.
That's true.
I mean, there's a
Will
lot
there
of
be time for
there's a
one
lot
last
of
story?
corn mazes or cornfields out there that are there for from planting to before harvest that we could just go run around in and then get chased by, I assume, the owner. Make our own little haunted house.
There could be the one that walks behind the rows.
Mm-hmm.
You probably don't know what that is.
I don't know what that
It
is.
could be there.
Um,
Children of the Corn reference.
I have seen Children of the Corn. I don't remember that. Is that from the original?
Yeah.
Are there multiple of those? I
It's the
don't even
name of
know.
them.
I don't know. Bunch of them?
Oh, for crying out loud, Zeke. You're very disappointing sometimes.
Sometimes. You remind me that I'm very disappointing all the time.
Well, good. You need it. Keeps you grounded.
I'm always grounded.
It's good. Yeah, no, nothing special this Halloween. I might get to take the day off of work.
Oh,
I'm
really?
Feeling like shit.
That's
it.
cool. You get the day off.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I might. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling.
Oh,
in the
that's
morning.
fair. You got a flu coming. All right.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Don't feel too good though.
Well, that's no good, man. I hope this podcast makes you feel better.
How good.
I hope it makes you feel as good as our listeners do.
Well, yeah, that's. We can only hope.
Yeah, well, that's probably why you're sick.
Could be. I will say one thing that made me happy this year was our producer also forced our hand under the influence of just a touch of whiskey to watch Ernest movies for all holidays.
Yeah, we did a trade. This is the first time we've done an amicable trade.
We have. So, one of the three this year is Ernest Scared Stupid, and it really did cheer me up. I watched it yesterday.
Yeah.
And it was nice.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that one first?
Yeah, we brought it up. I brought it up, so we might as well.
All right. Well, let's hop on it. So, do you want to read the actual synopsis, or do you?
I don't have it pulled up. Do you?
I'm loading it right now.
Do you want some info in the meantime?
Yeah, give us some info in the meantime.
Ernest Scared Stupid, 1991. Other movies released this year. Some alumni. Hook was 91.
Wow, that is alumni. That was the 50th.
The
Good alum.
The Addams Family, Silence of the Lambs, Terminator 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, and Beauty and the Beast.
Damn.
And a few.
Wow.
It had a budget of about
Beauty
$9
and the
million.
Beast, the cartoon.
Grossed about 14.
$9 million.
Yeah.
My goodness.
It was the last of the Disney-backed Ernest movies, and second to last one to go into theaters.
So you know a lot about this, I guess. There were 9 Ernest films, right?
Was there 9?
I think there were 9.
I'll believe you on that one. Yeah,
but they weren't all Disney.
No, this was the last. It was technically under Touchstone Pictures, which was like Disney's. We're Disney, but we don't want to say we're Disney.
Yeah, they had
were
like Buena Vista was their TV offshoot, and then Touchstone was like their not really indie arm, but it was like, hey,
we don't want to be.
Yeah,
you know,
you don't get the Disney tag.
Right. They don't want Ernest to be like canon in like the Disney universe. So
I did notice that Ernest Saves Christmas is the only one on Disney Plus.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I went. That's where I first looked.
Yeah,
But yeah,
same.
they had like a 4. I think a 3 or 4 movie option, and then since this movie did, I think one of the worst out of all the 4, they canned it. And then the next one was Ernest Rides Again, which was in theaters for like a week, and everything else went to direct video.
Wow.
And got progressively, I should say progressively worse, but they got into some strange territory. It kind of had some peaks and valleys, but ultimately it never got as good as the original 4, I guess.
Sure.
So,
yeah, I mean this one, in the specials that come packaged in DVDs, this is always there. Like the Scared Stupid, Saves Christmas, goes to camp, goes to jail. Like those are the kind of the 4 that you hear about. So, yeah.
as far as Ernest films,
I remember the
those are
basketball
golden
one.
ones. Those
What's
are
that?
the golden years.
Those are the
of
golden.
Ernest.
Yeah, absolutely. The golden years of Ernest. I don't remember the basketball one.
Oh yeah,
Ron?
Ernest.
think
Slam Dunk Ernest. Is that what you said, Ron?
Yeah, well, I didn't say that, but yeah, that's what I was talking
Someone
about.
did.
Nice. Right on.
I never saw that one.
So I have it pulled up, Rob. Do you want me to read the synopsis?
Let's read it together. You ready?
Ready. Ernest accidentally unleashes an ugly troll that plots to transform children into the wooden dolls in the town of Briarville,
Missouri.
Dear God. All right.
Pretty good.
Briarsville, Missouri.
You owe me a Coke, Jinx.
I drank your Coke.
Man, come on.
I don't know that I have a synopsis that makes more or less sense than that, I guess. Ernest, everyday hero, Ernest, garbage man Ernest, lovable local Ernest, unwittingly, like, is a descendant of someone in the...
It starts out sort of like a hocus pocus situation. You got this evil troll and he's going around chasing some little kid, right? And then you got Phineas Earl. I don't remember his name, but you got Earl's descendant. He's a preacher or something, and he traps the troll away in a tree. And as he's doing it, he says, "Oh, one of your descendants is going to set me free." And then... Oh, and he cursed them, and they got stupider and stupider, right?
Yeah, they got progressively
Descendants.
dumber. Yep.
Yeah, and then we get Ernest, and yeah, sure enough, I don't know if he's dumb. He's just kind of a Mr. Magoo, you know.
Yeah, he's just a likable guy that a lot of people write off, but yeah, he's not bad intentioned and kind of does his own thing.
Anyways, yeah, and he sure enough, he he woke that old troll up, didn't
He
he?
really did. Brought the troll out, and the troll all of a sudden started having these little troll
Yeah,
eggs that
and
he'd
he's got to
plant
get
around, and
yeah, little. So from the tree, he said some words on the tree. Troll. I don't remember. It was a funny scene though, and troll starts sprouting little Brussels sprout babies from the tree, and he needs to capture 5 children's souls, turn them into wood dolls, put them in the tree, and then yeah, the babies will come. Lots of trolls will be there, and what am I missing? And then that happens, and then there's a fight.
yeah, I mean Ernest is the driver of, or the manager of the, not manager, but the worker at Ruthless City Sanitation. And just like his 4th grade teacher used to say, he never knows how to give up or quit. And as a driver of the garbage
Smack
truck,
him
he
in.
feels like a captain of his own ship, a master of his own fate, and he deemed himself the great redneck hope.
No, I think Aretha Kitt did.
Okay, yeah, so she deemed him the great redneck hope.
I
gotcha.
He embraced it. He certainly embraced it.
Yeah, but
So yeah, it's a kids movie. If anyone's never heard of it, or of Ernest, because they're all children's movies. But I quite enjoyed it. How about, have you seen it? Was it a family or a kid favorite?
oh yeah, we watched it a lot
Child
growing
favorite?
up. Absolutely. There were a lot of really fun lines that I remembered hearing, but didn't really remember that they came from this movie. So like, the bark
Yeah,
always
I
grows
heard
on the
that too.
outside of a tree. Eat lactose slime ball. Maybe it's just me, but I got a Hoobie Hobble Halloween vibe from this. Like I really felt like it was the same kind of thing, which was like, I didn't hate Hoobie Halloween for the demographic it was made for. So I thought this kind of fit into that.
What is Hoobie Halloween?
It's Adam Sandler's Halloween movie from last year.
Oh,
It's on the Netflix.
yeah, not familiar. Okay.
Um,
Huey Halloween.
I did like the
Or is it Hugh? Is it Hubie? Okay, what are you doing? Yeah,
I did like the all the Ernestisms, like I let the troll out, know what I mean? All that stuff that only he did well, which was fun to see and hear again.
Yeah, Jim Varney. He really nails this Ernest character.
Yeah,
doesn't he?
this was his baby for sure.
Well, to say, even through like the final films, he always gave it 110%. Like he never held back.
No, it was fun. It was cool to see that.
Can we play my favorite?
Yeah, absolutely.
Please.
Hit it.
This is absolutely my favorite one in the entire
yeah.
movie.
I remember laughing pretty good when that line hit. I only had one father and didn't know him that well. It's pretty good. It was pretty good. So that mean
The first one that got me to laugh out loud was when the troll first comes up and he goes, "I sure hope you're from Keebler."
yeah. I mean, I'm really glad that we did the trade because without it, I don't
Yeah.
know that we would have revisited, or at least I don't think I would have revisited these movies, and that they're just kind of fun memories to fall back on, and I enjoyed it
Yeah.
as much watching it this time as I remember enjoying it when I was a kid.
I think it held up not quite as good as I remember as a kid, but it was still pretty good seeing that intro.
Yeah.
That intro's epic.
Well, all the Nosferatu clips and like Bride of Frankenstein, like, it was like a good
That
mashup.
floating brain.
Yeah, and in it, like for $9 million, the prosthetics and the troll, like it looked pretty good. Like it was very campy,
Yeah.
certainly, but it's I wouldn't call it like
Of course.
a classic film, but I would say it's like a nostalgia to the highest degree. So, and if you got kids,
agree.
what's not to love? Like, do your kids like it?
You know, I tried to get him to watch it, and he was just like, no. I don't think he would have gotten through the intro sequence. He'd be like, who is this guy?
Sure. Yeah.
Now, do you know where you remember all the other trolls that fell and were running around at the end of the film?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what those are reused from?
I'm gonna guess Willow.
Killer Clowns from Outer
Killer
Space.
Clowns from Outer
Are
Space.
they really?
Yep.
They're reused from Killer
That
Clowns.
reminded me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It was the same guys who did the effects.
Yeah, that.
Rob did some research.
The one. No, I know I didn't. I recognized the one that was shooting the bullets. I was like,
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Nice. Because
I don't know if I do now that you said it. And now that you put that out.
we
there.
did Killer Clowns, right, for Halloween a couple years ago.
Yeah, it was year
Yeah.
2, I believe.
That's awesome. Well, another like Killer Clowns, Hook. We got a lot of podcast roundabouts on this one.
All in the
just you
family.
wait.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, we got
Some of these later ones, it's like,
How about
it's
that?
like, wow, it's like the last 10 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys really
cool.
like the year 1995. Let's put it that way.
We've done a lot in the 90s. We have. No, I mean it was a fun one to watch. I really did like.
I love that little dog rim job.
Yeah, rim job, and then like biting the heads off chickens, whatever is a voodoo
I don't think that's accurate.
thing. You know? Yeah.
It is. It's accurate.
Yeah.
I may
But
be mistaken.
He
That's why I was under Touchstone and not
yeah,
Disney.
That's fair. Yeah, like all of the little.
Jason got
Yeah, I got it too. That's just fine.
it.
That all of them turning into like little wooden dolls and all that, and then they just kind of popped up, and everything was right with the world at the end of the movie.
Zeke, when did you watch this movie? When did you originally? Do you remember this from your childhood?
I
or
remember
how
from my
old were you?
childhood. Yeah, certainly.
Do you remember the troll being like creepy and scary to you, or were you just not bothered by it at that age?
The troll didn't bother me on this one. Like
Mm.
I know I was bothered by a lot when I was a kid, but this one, I think just because it was an Ernest film,
Mhm.
like I knew it wasn't anything I really needed to be worried about. And it seemed a lot like a dinosaur, like the show Dinosaurs. Like it seemed kind of like that. But yeah, I liked it. It wasn't anything that seemed scary. It was just kind of a funny thing. And Ernest is gonna win at the end, which was fun.
It scared me.
Yeah. Still today.
Not super bad. I was shivering in my boots.
Yeah.
Just at first, I remember being spooked by it.
Sure.
It wore off
Well, I'm glad it wore off.
as the movie progressed.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. Ernest is just it sticks to his normal movie scheme. He didn't go visit Vern, which I couldn't remember if he did that or not, but he didn't. I was hoping he would.
Yeah.
Those two guys, the bigger one was different. Like the
Bobby?
guys that were selling all the troll
Yeah.
hunting supplies. The bigger guy was
I
different.
mean, for 95, Ernest, as a garbage truck driver, spending $1,500 on troll hunting gear, and coming in looking like Rambo. It was pretty good. He totally sold, like he paid all of the money he had to try to save this town that was ungrateful.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say,
One of the little.
when I was a kid,
Go
I
ahead,
didn't really
Jason.
know what like a huckster was.
yeah,
So like when they were selling them all this stuff, I was like,
Yeah.
wow, I can't believe they actually have like troll away and stuff like that. And I was definitely old enough where I should have known.
sure, yeah.
Because when I say this was 91, yeah, I should have known better.
Well, I mean, it's kind of the story of my life where I just can't walk away from things. But like, I remember being in New York with you on spring break that year,
Oh yeah.
and you were taking pictures of me getting hustled by people, like
Oh.
just trying to like get me to buy their CD, and I just like talking to them, didn't want to buy their album, but Jason just walked away immediately. He's gone,
Mhm.
and I'm there like 5 minutes later.
Sure.
It's 10 degrees outside New York with the wind blowing. He's like, we have to leave right now. So yeah.
You and my wife.
yeah,
Not to bring her into it, but because
Yeah.
honestly, there's nothing on those CDs. Those CDs
No,
are
they're-
blank.
they're garbage, yeah.
No, they're not even garbage. There's nothing on them. It's like, oh, I
Sure.
got the CD. You go. It's like it's a blank CD.
Mhm.
I just spent $10 on a blank CD.
Sure.
It's like, oh, I'll give you 10 for 5. It's like it cost them a dollar.
Yeah.
So, well, we went to New York City, not to go off track,
Blank sheet.
and there was like all the creepy people in like knockoff
Sure.
Elmo costumes, stuff like that. And so we get up off the train, go up into Times Square, and she thinks it's adorable because
Mhm.
like, oh sure, I'll take a picture with them. And then suddenly there's like 10 of them are mobbing her because
Oh,
it's like,
man.
oh, here's an easy mark.
Yeah.
I was like, dear, they want money from you.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? I was like, oh my god. And so
Yeah.
I just walked away. I was like, we're gonna go.
Time to go.
It's like I don't
Well-
want to be rude.
Well, like that's just the difference in where we grew up. Like here, if people are doing that, you want to support it, and out there, it's like no, they've taken advantage of that. So, you walk away. That's just how it goes.
Easy marks, you Midwestern.
And yet, here you are.
I know. Shit, I'm one of you.
Yeah, there you go. Well, what do you think, Rob?
Well, I had when the huckster was selling them stuff. One of the adult jokes, it's not a dirty adult joke. The very last thing he sold them is a trolling motor. That made me giggle.
Yeah, trolling motor. There was some good
I
stuff.
said,
I like when he had the troll away spray, and
Mhm.
the troll's on the front of the windshield, and he sprays it on the
yeah.
inside of the windshield. He's like,
Troll
"Get the troll!"
away.
It worked.
I can't believe that worked.
Yeah. Which there's two reasons it wouldn't work.
One, it's not real, and two, you're on the wrong side of the glass. Yeah,
But I, as a kid, was like, "Oh my god, it did work!"
yeah, that was good. The whole thing was fun.
It was.
It only had a.
I guess if we're wrapping it up, I do have some quotes
Okay.
I
Yeah.
liked. Right after he said, sure hope you're not from Keebler. He says, I know Kung Fu, Tai Chi, Chow Mein, and I saw Hulkamania 3 times, once in slow-mo. That made me laugh. And then the old lady, Aretha Kitt, I don't remember her name in the movie, she says, you're a bother to the whole planet. And I thought that was kind of mean, but
Eartha Kitt.
Old Lady Hackmore.
yeah, old
So-
lady. I assume that's Aretha Kitt.
Eartha
Yeah.
Kitt was kind of amazing too.
Yeah, she was
gave
wonderful
it-
in it.
She always
Yeah,
everything
she
she
was.
does was just
Yeah.
like
You know.
banger. So
It was so good. Like the whole time, it was just like I'm so glad that she was in this, but that she was also in Emperor's New Groove.
Mhm.
Like her voice is just immediately recognizable.
Yeah. And again, you could tell she just
Yeah.
one of the
brought
only
it.
people to match Ernest like Jim Varney and
Yeah.
just being not over the top, but just bringing all that energy.
Just
all
leaned in.
that-
Like
that
a movie like that would be
enjoyment,
really,
yeah.
really easy to just kind of phone in. You know, like you're just kind of there. But like having people bring their A game was awesome. It was fun.
Agreed.
Until you got to Ernest Goes to Africa.
I have not seen that one.
Oh, it's there are some poor choices made.
I'm sure it's probably why it's not on Disney.
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm pretty sure they struck that one from
Yeah.
the internet.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
fair.
that one's not good. I remember seeing that on cable, and I was like,
Sure.
oh,
Mm.
this doesn't seem okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
the next episode, right?
Yeah, we'll cover that in the next one. Yep.
We can link it. I'll do it.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past us. So, right on.
One of the quotes I remember my sister and I used to say all the time, I didn't get it in when we were talking about that. Did you hear something? Boy, I sure did. Not a very memorable quote necessarily, but my sister and I said it all the
Boy,
time.
I sure did.
I guess that's it.
Right on.
Boy, I sure
Real quick, give me your best ew.
Ew.
No, you gotta get.
Hey.
Rob wins it.
No, that's fine. It's Rob's movie.
It's
You gotta-
America's
you
movie.
gotta
You know what I mean?
You gotta do the little mouth thing. You gotta move it side to side.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. That's much better.
Nice. All right. Well, it's your
Yeah.
your rate, man.
You got one choice, boy. Sex or the saw.
I'm giving it sex, an enjoyable rim job.
From the dog, huh?
I thought that. Sure. Whatever you're into.
All right.
I thought that would be appropriate for a children's movie.
That's fair.
It is fair, isn't it?
Money in my pocket, money, I know how to count it. Money in my pocket, money, I know how to count it.
All right. I'm gonna give this out of $2.99. I'm gonna give it $2.15.
Pretty good, folks. Check it out. You can get it for free on the Roku channel app
And YouTube.
And the YouTubes,
and apparently YouTube.
which I did not know when I went and bought the DVD.
Well, I don't think that's too big of a deal, though. You like buying those things.
That's true. I do. Well, what's next?
Well, I suppose we can do The Descent. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Okay. Are we diving in?
Yeah, let's hit it. So, do you wanna read the synopsis?
Yeah, of course. I'm not prepared. Are you prepared?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, go right ahead. I'll pull up the next one.
All right. A caving expedition goes horribly wrong as the explorers become trapped and ultimately pursued by a strange breed of predators. It's a 2005 movie by Neil Marshall.
Written and directed.
You know him?
I do not. Written, directed by him. I do not know him.
He directed the 2019 Hellboy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know that was the same person.
It is.
That is unfortunate.
Yes. Yeah, his
Oh,
other
really?
credits are nothing notable.
Yeah.
As with everyone who's in this as well. I looked him up and I was like, yeah.
So actually, one
these
of
are
the
all
actresses
British.
in this, like, I really like her work. Mayanna Buring. Like, I really enjoy her work.
Which one was she?
She is the one that acts as a medic periodically.
Okay.
I was under the impression that James Franco cut his arm off in this film at some point.
No, that was a different
What
one.
was that one?
I think 128 hours.
So that movie was shorter than this one?
Oh, brother.
I did get... there was a lot of... I feel like there were too many characters in this film.
Needed a body count.
Yeah, they did. They needed a body count. But so the film opens, they're like doing whitewater rafting somewhere. And then there's like this really strange, like noticeably strange interaction with the three women and the guy's husband and daughter that show up. And then on the way home, on the drive back, or to the cabin, the wife of the husband's like, "What's up? You're acting weird." And then abruptly, the husband dies in a car accident. And then
And the kid.
And then it jumps. The film jumps 1 year later in Deliverance, and then the people are climbing again, in like nothing happened. Just trying to get back in like extreme, dangerous
Let's
caving.
explain things a little bit. That little intro is pretty dumb. I don't really think they needed that. I'll give you that. But so it does establish that it's a group of female friends that are into semi-extreme recreation, such as whitewater rafting or spelunking or caving. I'm not sure. I guess one is you're discovering a cave and one is you know the cave.
I think what they were really getting into was extreme ways to die.
Yeah, they didn't know that.
No, that's true. There were some.
So
There were
anyways,
like 8 of them.
Somewhere around there. Yeah. Couldn't tell you their names, but anyways, the one gal's the family dies. She was having an affair with one of the other girls in the group, but the group gets together a year later. One of the reasons, or maybe the whole reason, is to cheer that gal up whose family died with a caving expedition in the Appalachian Mountains.
There's a lot that I didn't really understand as the film, because like there wasn't a lot of foreshadowing. I guess it was pretty clear what was going to happen without the actual critters. But like, not to spoil anything, but the main antagonist of the film is like very clearly just all about herself, and I don't understand.
Juno.
Yeah, Juno. I don't understand why she went out of her way to create all of this trouble to bring this woman back into their climbing group when she had been having an affair with her husband before he died, and
Well,
it doesn't make any sense.
things aren't so black and white. She wasn't pure evil, and she still cared about the friend whose husband she was cheating with, and the rest of them she was trying to make him have a good time in a unexplored cave that she tricked him into.
She tricked him into going to an unexplored cave that she also didn't
she
file
told
a
him,
plan.
She told him they were going to one
Yeah.
place, and then she
So it was
took him to
just
another.
pure vanity that drove her, where she was in charge and got credit and blah blah blah. But
She wanted to name the cave, didn't she?
yeah, she wanted to be able to name the cave, and then the girl the woman whose husband had died was like, "What are you going to name it after yourself?" But
What? Did she talk about that in the first scene?
not in the first scene, but when they get in there, she's like, "We were going to name it together," and the woman was like, "Yeah, you were going to name it."
Oh, okay.
So
Sure.
there were some fun
I
lines.
said
Like
something
I
about
liked
that,
like, "I'm an English teacher, not a fucking Tomb Raider."
Yeah, I had that one.
I'm only looking out for you. And then I really liked the response, and I would appreciate it in small doses. I would like to note that we should put an embargo going forward on bat swarms. Did not appreciate that at all. I don't need that.
You're afraid of bats too?
I hate bats. I've been swarmed by bats. I don't need any more experiences with bats in my life.
Just stand still.
I think it would have been interesting to see the making of this film, because they probably created the set in a warehouse, but they still at some point had to go to a real cave. I don't know enough about it, but I feel like the PAs on this movie really should be given a lot of credit on like the cleanup that must have gone into this picture.
Of guano?
No, just like the blood and just like everything was messy all the time, and so like the makeup department did a great job, and the PAs must have crushed it.
Singing its praise.
Yeah, I mean, there were too many characters. There's a very weird
You
arc,
loved it.
but then you get like all abruptly when the third act hits, you get this really weird time machine kind of characters living under the ground, and they were great.
It's really that.
What?
So they're in their cave, and they find out that they're not where they're supposed to be, and they get in.
There's an
to
avalanche.
the point where they can't go back, and they discover that there's been they find some old caving equipment from, I don't know, early 1900s or something, let's say that, just to say that something, and then they start discovering these creatures. They're humanoids. They kind of look like the elves in Skyrim, or the
Sure.
whatever it's called.
I haven't seen it. Sure.
There's evil elves, anyways. Yeah, they're sort of like goblin little.
I mean, they could have passed off as like goblin vampires, and
Yeah. And then they're all fighting for their life to stay alive, kill the creatures, and get out of that ding cave.
I did like that it was like a colony living underground. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it like that she thought she saw something and then didn't. Had to get herself convinced that she wasn't seeing something. That was like, it was a good lead up to what eventually went wrong, and then it just seemed like there was a lot of extra time when survival was the only priority, to have all these other characters reveal their drama. That just seemed weird. Like it was unnecessary. Like you could have taken all of that.
Drama?
You could have. What's that?
Who else was revealing their?
Well, because like the one friend whose husband had died ran into this other, like Beth, that was inadvertently stabbed by Juno and then left for dead. And then she was like telling her, like gave her husband's thing that Juno had, and all of this stuff didn't really matter when it was like, we need to get out of here right now. But they kept dropping like flies one at a time.
I mean, they're just putting the human element on it, man, making you feel for them. Like, oh, jeez.
I mean, I liked the survival part. I just didn't like the forced other. It seemed like unnecessary drama for me. So.
Okay, fair enough. I thought it set the tone pretty good straight away. Once I get into the cave, anyways, it's within the first 10 minutes of the film, and then it's all dark and drippy, and they're using flashlights and glow sticks.
The lighting in the cave scenes was really cool. I did like that. Like it really set the scene that they were caving or spelunking or whatever you want to call it. They were in like tight spaces, and and it really lit up well. So
yeah, and I think the creatures they looked good. I think the makeup on them was good. The noises they made was good.
I didn't like. I think that they went over the top a little bit on the Foley, or like when they did the ADR for it, like going to re-record the voice in the control environment. Like a lot of the grunts and like like pulling themselves. Like there's just a lot of that I could have done with less of that.
Well, not everybody's so astute, my friend.
Well, that's fair. But they're not the ones rating it. I am.
Good point. Yeah, I think it's genuinely creepy. I could see how some people could be scared by it.
Yeah.
Were you scared?
I was not scared. Honestly, the part that made me unnerved the most was just being swarmed by bats. Like, I didn't need that because I've been swarmed by bats in a cave and in my own room.
In your own room?
Yeah, my bedroom growing up.
How'd they get in there?
They came from the attic down through the air conditioning vent.
It would be traumatizing.
Well, one of them hit the ceiling fan and landed on my face. 100% do not recommend. It's not a great way to wake up. Anyway, I really liked the creatures though. I think that they would have, like, if I'd seen it in a theater, I think it would have been creepy. Like, it was creepy anyway, but like to see it the first time on the screen and have no idea, it would have had that kind of like a Quiet Place effect where people are like, "Oh, I gotta go, I gotta get out of here."
Sure.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't researched it to the extent, but I think it was kind of a big surprise, the quality. It's definitely well regarded by horror fans. I see it on best of lists quite frequently.
Yeah.
I personally, of course, like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like nobody really knew who that director was, and nobody really knew anything about it. It had one of those kind of volcano, Dante's Peak thing. There was another movie that came out at the same time. I can't remember what the hell that did.
Oh, it was like the ruins or something.
The cave. I think it was just called The Cave,
Oh.
maybe. But at the same time, there was one that came out similar, but this was far superior. Yeah, and I think that last scene, the showdown between Juno and the main character. I'm not big on names, but like she's hiding in the blood pool. I thought that was really cool.
That was a really cool scene. Like, definitely a trailer shot, you know? Like, just something that,
Yep.
you're like, wow, that's going to stick out for sure. It was a great scene. That whole scene, actually, where she's in that pool of blood is really cool with the characters or, like, the other critters, and I really liked that whole scene. The only thing I didn't like about that ending was, like, the false ending, where you kind of, like, she's concussed, and you have this, like, recreation of her having gotten out, and then she wakes up. And, I don't mind it if it's a theme throughout the film and you're not really sure what's real. But there was another film I watched recently where they did that, or the series that I was watching. They did it the first time. They did it in one episode only. And it was just like, that's not really. That's just take it out. Like, it kind of took me out of it more than if they'd just not done it at all.
Sure. There were two endings. The ending you saw was the one where she was still in the cave?
Yeah, so I think I watched the uncut. So it had, like, the ending. So there was, like, this scene where she gets out in the truck.
I wanted to mention that when she's climbing up that line of bones.
That is a cool scene. Yep.
Visual.
So I didn't realize that was is it two different endings that I just watched back to back, or is it not? Is that not how it ends?
I can't remember exactly what it is, but the non-US version, they don't have the climbing out. I think she just is stuck in there.
So
I can't remember exactly.
The one that I saw, it like she gets out,
the other one is
and then
much
she
darker.
like wakes, she like runs out and is like weeping, nearly gets hit by a truck, and then it ends in like a weird way, like she's worried about him following, and then she wakes up back in the cave from her concussion fall, and then it ends with her standing, like listening to Juno get eaten alive.
Gotcha. That must be the dark one.
Yeah.
She gets out in the other one, for real.
Okay. So yeah, that was what I saw.
Okay. Well, we're really scooting through them, huh?
Yeah. We
That's
could have done.
okay.
We could have done 5
There's-
this year. Is this
stop
what you're
it.
saying?
Stop. So we came from the Descent. It premiered at Sundance in 2005 and didn't get his U.S. release till 2006.
That's pretty typical.
Budget of about 4.6 million, and it grossed about 57 million. I think that's worldwide.
So now
So I did notable films.
didn't do too well.
No, it's just poor return. So I'm sure they claimed it as a failure. because they always like to do that. So
Sure.
so I did 2006
Did get a sequel.
movies.
It did get a sequel, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, The Descent to, what was it was like a tagline for it too. It was like The Descent to something.
Back in the hole. I don't know.
More blood.
More.
Was it?
I don't know.
Was she just concussed?
I mean,
She's just in like a hospital bed. She actually fell on that water. She's like in the hospital from the car accident, and the whole thing was. a
Yeah,
dream.
yeah, I've seen the second one. Then she goes back in to help people.
2006 movies, because that's what I'm going by U.S. release, because that's all
Sure.
that matters. The Departed, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, Pixar's
Oh.
Cars, X-Men Last Stand, Da Vinci Code, Superman Returns, Casino Royale, Mission Impossible 3, and Zeke's favorite film, Lucky Number 11,
It's a great movie.
where he made all of us go see it in college.
You're welcome.
He talked it up for like 3 months.
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
was fine. I don't remember anything about it.
Oh,
Is Josh Hartnett?
yeah.
Yeah, that's all I remember.
I can't believe we had that
Ben
come to
Kingsley.
town. What a gift. You're welcome.
Probably made him go to Sioux Falls.
Probably did. All I can say is you're welcome.
You got one choice, boy. Sex or the saw.
No surprise, giving it 6. 5 stalagmites. Way up.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, I like this movie quite a bit. Maybe 4. 4's not. I'll knock it down. Out of a 5 stalagmite
Sure.
scenario.
Money in my pocket, money, money, I know how to count it. Money, money, money in my pocket, money, money, I know how to count it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I'm gonna give this $2 out of $2.99.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm glad I saw it.
You know how to just.
I'm glad I saw it. Like it was a fun movie. There were some problems that I had
I
with
swear
it,
the
but
way-
I think it was overall well-made movie.
The way you discuss things, and it just makes it sound like you hate it.
Yeah. What's your point?
No point, just that.
Yep. Well, next up, do you want to read the synopsis?
Last, and not least, though I'm sure Zeke will feel that way, we have Lord of Illusions. A private detective gets more than he bargains for when he encounters Philip Swan, a performer whose amazing illusions captivate the world, but they are not really what everyone thinks.
You and I watched this movie together today. Well,
Just today, yeah.
together over Zoom. So,
Yeah, yep.
yeah.
That's correct.
You know, I have never heard of this movie before.
It came to my attention because it was an alternative to Congo.
Interesting.
Well, I knew about it, but I wouldn't.
So, I mean,
when
I'm
it came
sure
to
that
mind.
SD
If
is
it
going
hadn't
to
been
have
that.
some things to say about this. Is another 1995 film,
Same year as Congo,
I see that.
same year as Congo.
and The Mangler,
How about that?
and Braveheart,
Ooh.
Wow.
and Toy Story, Casper, Jumanji, Die Hard with a Vengeance, and Pulp Fiction.
Dang.
Budget of $12 million, grossed about $13 million. So, you know.
Another-
Directed by Clive Barker, one of only of his 3 directorial films he ever did. This was the last of them. Starring Scott
What was the
Bakula,
other one?
Kevin James O'Connor, Famke Jensen,
Yeah.
and Daniel von Bargen.
It is interesting that this is a 95 film, and Femke is, I don't know how to say her name. Femke?
I thought it was Femke.
Is-
Femke?
I don't think it's Famke.
She is a Bond girl from GoldenEye, and she was
Mm-hmm.
in GoldenEye in 1995. So, big movie year for her, that she did both this and that. But, yeah,
She did the movie This and That too.
yeah, there you go.
X-Men and Taken are her 2 other Wikipedia notable.
Yeah, she's the Phoenix, or Jane Grey.
Mhm.
Oh
Yeah,
shit.
and Kevin J. O'Connor is he's Benny from the Mummy series.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I guess he was in There Will Be Blood as well. Small
Sure.
part.
Was he?
Yeah, so Rob, I guess I was under the impression that Clive Barker was more proficient than 3 films. Like it seems like
Well, he's got a lot of things based on his stuff.
Oh, okay.
He's only directed the.
All right.
Right, he's a
Yeah.
writer. He's self-proclaimed. He's like, I am a writer, not a director. So
okay.
He only did the original Hellraiser, and I'm assuming he did Nightbreed. He directed that, I'm pretty sure, and not Hellraiser 2, but that would be my second guess is his third movie. If it wasn't Nightbreed. But yeah, he's got other things based on him. Couldn't tell you what off the top of my head, but
So it's
he is.
go ahead.
He is influential in the horror world.
So this is it's a movie about it's a shocker. It's a horror film about a cult. And
I forgot about that. I'd forgotten about that, or I probably would have left it out for your sensitive.
and it turns out that their cult leader in this case is actually a demon.
Mr. Kruger from Seinfeld.
Yeah, Nix is his name here.
Nix. I like the names in this.
Yeah.
Nix, Swan.
And at the very beginning, there's a fissure between the cult followers, and Swan leads a small group to put the cult leader down, because this time he's gone too far. He's taken a little girl.
Yeah. He's going to... We don't really know. Sacrificer, consumer.
Yeah, I don't really know either.
I
Like,
know.
everybody in that cult at the moment had, like, blood on their lips and was eating weird things. And not to give anything away, but that cult was doing a lot of weird things throughout this film, so this was not out of the ordinary for them. But Nix is hanging on, like, this cage of bones.
Yeah, I don't know what
Like
that
a
thing
very,
was. Some sort of
very
weird
much like a Buffalo Bill vibe.
otherworldly. Well, he can actually do magic, so he's really floating.
Yeah, that's true. He didn't need to hang from it. He could have floated on his own. And
He might have been hanging too.
the
but
cult building
that's an
itself.
important part of the movie. There is real magic.
And why is that, Rob? Because illusionists get contracts in Las Vegas. Magicians burn.
That's right.
But yeah, like the Nix becomes like this fabled, what did they call him? The Puritan, and
The Puritan, yeah.
He could have done any number of things, but instead he lives in this hovel with the cult, and they have all these petroglyphs on the walls of looking like a demon eating humanity. And turns out that Nix is that. That's what his job is. And then we have this weird, like, Constantine director or guy with Scott Bakula, who has these nightmares from the very beginning that kind of go unexplained forever about, like, taste the darkness, Daemon, like, it's been waiting for you. And I really thought that at some point it would explain, like, why he was having these, but it never did.
Sure. Yeah, we missed the part where they bind the Puritan and they bury him, so they end his reign of terror.
Yeah,
for a
they
short
shoot
time.
the
Cut
girl.
to Scott Bakula and his nightmares.
The girl that they'd kidnapped, she shoots Nix in the chest, and then other people shoot him, and then they put this mask on him, and they bury him so deep no one will ever
Magic
find
mask.
him. They screw it into his head. I call it the lobotomy mask. And then they bury him in the desert somewhere. And then come to find out that Swan married the girl that he'd saved. Femke. Yep.
Femke, whatever.
Yeah, so, which I thought was weird. Like, it was a great turn.
I better get her name right if I'm ever going to marry her,
Yeah,
right?
that's true. That's true. You'll have to learn that. First, evidently, you have to save her from a cult.
Call me Femke.
I just thought that was weird because she was very young.
Yeah, well, they go over it. I don't think it was a physical relationship that was mentioned several times. She didn't marry him for love.
She owes him everything.
I guess I think it was more of like a daughter thing. Even though he loved her, he didn't really get into how he loved her, but it was implied in the special way. But she looked at him more like a protector, I think.
Yeah, it did seem that way.
Benefactor or something.
But I don't. And then Scott Bakula gets sent out to do this other detective job.
Private eye.
Private
dick.
And he gets sent out to investigate. And the guy he's investigating is having like this weird, having hookers and blow in the hotel. And then he goes to get a palm reading, and then their guy there is getting tortured to death, and so Scott like abandons this other job that
Vivisected.
he was sent there for, and kind of gets caught up with Femke's cult fiasco because people are like, it's Nix, he's back, and then
Yeah, so it's 13 years later, and Swan, the guy that bound the Puritan, he's become a famous illusionist.
yeah, not a magician. Don't call him
Didn't
that.
mention that. No, don't ever say that. And he's rich, and he's sort of a David Blaine type caricature.
Mm-hmm. And Femke calls him Mr. Sunshine, which is nice because he's always gloomy and smoking cigars.
I bet you like that. You like those things.
I do.
Havanos even.
Yeah, and then they had like one of the minions from the cult is like constantly he's been practicing how to resurrect this guy and release him. So
Yeah, because they all lived. But,
he doesn't change his clothes in the whole course of the film. He's wearing this like gold spandex unitard, and
yeah.
doesn't ever change out of that. So that's somehow giving him powers of resurrection.
He probably watched. He probably
I don't
watched.
think
You know,
that he
he did.
did.
He probably watched it at the hotel.
And then turns out that Swan fakes his death so Nix can't get him, and then Scott Bakula and Femke
in grand fashion.
they have deep passion with the the monster with the beast with two backs, and then they're just like, oh, Swan's not dead after all, and then they inadvertently resurrect Nix, which was the point of burying him, and it turns out that he has an eye in his forehead, and he's here to kill everybody, but he wants Swan to hang out and keep him company, which is weird.
The spandex guy brought him back to life.
He did, yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of pretty dumb sleuthing, but it's going around that Magic Castle in L.A. That's where this is taking place. Have you been there? I was asking you, but you couldn't hear me. Have you been to that Magic Castle?
I have not been to the Magic Castle, no.
Is it tough to get in there? It must be.
To the Magic Castle? I mean, I've never been in there, so it must be at least somewhat difficult.
Well, you never tried.
I didn't know it was there.
Really? You never heard
No.
that? Oh, it's a big... At least I'm led to believe it's a big attraction.
Is it Disney?
Jason, have you heard of that? The Magic Mansion in
Yeah, it's
LA?
like where all the magicians go. It's like a very I don't know, prestigious group to get into.
Well, I'm
To be
not part of
accepted in
that
there.
group.
Yeah.
I know, which I'm not sure.
You don't have to be.
Rob asked you. Can you do any magic tricks?
Illusion. Tricks are what hookers do for money.
Can you do any tricks?
No, no, I can't. I can like spin a coin in my fingers and make it disappear into my jacket if I'm wearing one. That's about it.
Like I put it in my pocket.
Yep. No, that's about it.
No, not me either.
I did not appreciate the backseat of snakes that one of the cult leaders had before he went and ripped his hair out. No snakes. That's
He wasn't a leader. He was just a guy who worked at must have been a herpetologist.
I really did like that.
Yeah.
That when Nix finally comes back, he like has the ground swallow up all of his loyal followers because he's like, you all suck. So
Yeah, it was a really.
you're done.
I remember that as a kid. I saw this as a kid, and that's one of the few things I remember. Scared me.
Actually, when I was doing a little bit of research for this movie, I watched that clip, and that one actually like that. I did not like that. That
Yeah.
was the one thing I was like,
Yeah, it is.
okay, most of the
Disturbing.
effects in this are awful, but
Yeah.
that one was like, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care for that one. So
It was impressive.
I mean, it was good, but
Yeah.
it left me feeling icky.
Sure.
I felt icky on the inside.
That's the point, and it's
I
kind of
didn't feel good.
Clive Barker's thing is to make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh, is
I
it?
wouldn't say he necessarily succeeded. Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were like wholesome family events.
Well, you
Bring your
did.
kids.
No,
Yeah. Well, let me know what your kids think of this
you
one.
heard.
Yeah.
Will do.
Yeah. I did like the line, there's something terrible coming soon. I thought that they should have used that in the trailer.
Sure. Let's see. The one line I liked, I wrote down a few, but the only one that I think is really worth it is she asks him somebody asked him who he is. I think it was probably Scott Bakula, and he says, "A man who wanted to be a god and changed his mind." So I think that's kind of what happened. He was thinking around with, magic and otherworldly stuff, gaining power to. I don't know if he wanted to be a good god or a bad god or not, but then he just kind of became a. I guess you can't even call him a nihilist. He became a something. He just wanted to destroy the world, so that's what he was doing.
Well,
Some sort of demon guy. Then he falls through a goddamn hole in the ground.
Yeah.
Into some lava.
straight down to hell. Took
Yep.
the quick shoot.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there were some interesting parts. I really feel like it would have made more sense if they had just added Papa Midnight and John Constantine to this movie. But like, I
Okay.
don't understand. Scott Bakula, like, is this private eye that clearly, like, he had just, like, the case that we meet him on is the day after he saved some kid from a exorcism, and he has these like visions of demons that go 100%
They
on
referenced that he was always into the weird stuff. Like the guy that hired him to go to LA. He said, "Yeah, this is your kind of thing," or whatever. So it implied that he was always taking weird cases that weren't natural necessarily.
Yeah. Then he has like this very ornate
So.
tattoo on his back that I don't understand.
Yeah.
either,
yeah. Just because he's cool.
I guess
Shows that he's into
it's tough.
the occult, man.
Yeah. All right.
What a Halloween. Okay.
Well, what else do you have to say about it?
No, nothing. I really like it. It's I wouldn't say it's a childhood favorite, but I watched it once or twice back when I was younger, probably in my, I don't know, late teens, early 20s, and I remembered it being quite good. I still feel that way.
Sure.
I think everyone had good performances. Kevin J. O'Connor, that's the mummy guy.
Yes.
Swan?
Yep.
Yeah, I really liked him.
Yeah.
I think Kruger, the Puritan.
Nix.
Nix. I think he did. I think he's. I don't really know what he's known for. I only know him from Seinfeld, but the transition from Seinfeld to this, that's some good range, as I'm fond of talking about.
Yeah, he had a really good character. Like, I didn't have any problem with his role in it. Yeah.
They mostly did TV. The other two notable ones are Malcolm in the Middle and Super Troopers.
Oh yeah, he was the leader of the cops. Leader, chief.
Yep, he was the leader of the cops.
Say
Later,
shenanigans
like-
one more time.
Hi, I'm the cop leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, still, hey, that guy can act. Neat.
He died in 2015.
Yeah, I
Well,
thought he might have. I couldn't remember. for
Did
sure.
he? Because it's only been 7 years, and the Puritan could come back.
No, he put a bullet in his head.
Oh, okay.
Actually, he didn't die. He
Did
didn't
he
die
really?
from that. No, he had a leg amputated, and it was issues with diabetes.
Oh, dang.
And
Alright.
Oh,
probably
Jesus.
the bullet in his head didn't help the situation. So
Yeah, okay.
I did some research.
Yeah, you did.
I
You
did some
went
dark
deep-
research.
a
Wait,
deep
went
dive.
deep on that
he
one.
tried to kill himself, and he survived, but then
Yep.
diabetes got him.
I think so. So
What a turn.
I'm always curious when actors. The first thing I look at is when people have passed, because it's like, oh damn,
Yeah.
they're gone. So
All right, well, we want to rate it? Rob, you got something else?
No, that's
All
it.
right.
You got one choice, boy. Sex or the saw?
It's definitely sex. I didn't come up with anything clever for this one, so we'll just call it. Let's see.
It's just
Good old romp in the muck.
you get swallowed by the
Mud.
floor and then hope to come again 13 years later.
Again, good and wet. Yep.
Oh, okay. And it just dries up like the desert.
Money in my pocket, money, money, I know how to count it. Money, money, money in my pocket, money, money, I know how to count it.
All right, so I'm gonna say out of 299, I'm gonna give this. It is the lowest rating of the three, but it's not bad. I like the other two better. I'm gonna say it's $1.85 that I give this one.
Damn, that's pretty.
it-
For
yeah.
you, that's pretty damn good.
It was long. I really like the actors in it. I like all of the acting performances.
Yeah.
I think it was long, and there was some stuff that didn't make sense. But yeah, overall, I think it was a good movie. So I think it would have helped if
Goddamn,
Clive
this
Barker,
is-
you know, had been a director. I think it would have helped, but it was,
He was the director.
he was the director. I'm saying, like, if he would have thought of himself as a director, to let's try to, like,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
hone that skill a little bit and
Sure.
not just have it be a story he was telling for the sake of telling it.
Well, it's hard to say when he might have done these 3 movies and they all, I'm sure, bombed.
Yeah.
I don't know about Hellraiser, but I'm sure this, obviously we would have got 1 million over its. So he probably said that afterwards. He's like, all right.
That's fair.
Back to the books, baby.
Yeah. I think that there was something in this one. Like it has some elements that are of other films that are similar, but they just made it a little bit more commercial. But it did have a good, like, certainly a 95 vibe that had good acting in it. So yeah.
Well, I'd say this is the most successful Halloween since the first year.
Yeah, I would agree. Nice work, man.
Most low energy, maybe.
Well, you're sick,
But that's okay.
and yeah, it was good though.
And you're a grumpy.
I am grumpy.
That's okay.
So, well, thanks, man. Happy Halloween.
Cool. Yeah, happy Halloween to you. Appreciate you taking the time, and maybe we'll have to see. We'll check our. I forget the term, but we'll see how many listeners we have. See if 3 is better than 5.
Yeah,
Jason.
we'll put it to a vote.
Statistics.
You still made it an hour. Don't feel too bad.
Yeah, it's funny. We get 2 more in a half hour.
Yep.
Anyways. All right. Well, everybody have a happy Halloween. I guess that's all. Remember, don't be a sucker. It's been a slice.
Happy Halloween, man.
If you need us, just listen. Yeah, happy Halloween.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Horse centipede. Yep, it's a horse centipede.